Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on April 13th, 2022, and I'd like to call to order the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School Board to order. This is our annual board reorganization meeting. In a moment, I will be asking the board to nominate a chair. Once I receive a nomination, I will call for a second. If I will receive a second, I will open up the floor for discussion. At the end of discussion, we'll take a vote. If a chair is elected, I will pass the meeting over to the chair, who will elect a vice chair and a secretary, and as well as appoint the signers of the manifest. All other committee appointments will be done during the course of the month and be ratified next month by the board. Are there any questions on our process? Excellent. At this time, I would like to call for a nomination for chair.
I nominate Holly Babcock.
Yeah, that's close.
Say the whole thing.
There you go. I have a nomination of Holly Babcock DeLu. Do I have a second? A nomination from Cindy, a second from Beth. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? The motion passes. Holly, you are now officially the chair, and I'll turn the meeting over to
Move
you.
it on over. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, at this point, we need to do the same process to nominate a vice chair. I would like to nominate Tom Solon for vice chair. Second by Beth. Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Okay, so now we get to the fun ones. So that means that's Tom is now vice chair. Welcome aboard. Secretary. So we need to nominate someone to be secretary. Does
We
anybody
should
want
nominate somebody who's not here.
I was gonna say, somebody's not here.
Yeah, we could do that. Who wants to make that nomination? Did you just nominate Kate again? I mean,
I nominate
I feel
Kate.
that's
Okay.
mean,
okay, so Tom nominates Kate Stoll. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Cindy. All in favor? Okay, Kate is now our secretary. Okay, that's Kate. And then for the manifest, I would appoint manifest. I know that Beth and Kate have been doing it. I'd like to change that, like just to give other people a chance. Unfortunately, people aren't here, but I've never done it. Can I
Yeah.
do it?
I mean, are
Chair?
you capable? Or are you allowed to?
Can the chair do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're a
so
board member.
I'd like to do it, and I think, do we need to have a Brookline and a Hollis?
You don't, it would be best to have two plus an alternate, because,
Right, Cindy, you've been the alternate, and that has worked fine, so, and that's a
do
role
you
that,
want to do it?
I like doing it, but. because
Yeah, I think we
would
wanna
rather
try
do
to
alternate.
I think I'm gonna keep Kate doing it, because she's been doing it, she only did it for a year, I think, so that's what I'm gonna do. I think that's what I'd like to do.
Get you at the SAU level.
Yeah.
Staying.
Yeah, so, so I'm gonna, does that need to be approved, or is that just an appointment?
That's an appointment.
Okay, so that would be me and Kate are going to do it with Cindy remaining as the alternate, right? Because I think Kate only did it for 1 year, and Beth's been doing it a couple years. Okay, so we're going to start with
Yeah,
it's not on the outline, but I think we might make a change to the amendment, amend the
Yeah.
agenda adjustment
Well,
to add a non-meeting.
meeting, yeah.
So we would do the non-meeting prior to the non-public. So we'll do a non-meeting, which is for members of the public who are here. That's a meeting for the board to have a conversation with our attorney and get some legal counsel, right?
Yep.
And then we would come back in the room and call for a non-public? Is that how we do that?
Yes.
Right, okay. So I don't think, I
Oh.
need a motion to
and,
go into non-meeting, right?
Yep.
So I need
moved.
motion by Tom and second by Beth to go into non-public, non-meeting, sorry, non-meeting. Do we need a roll call vote for non-meeting?
No.
No, okay, so all in favor? 4-0. So at this point, we will enter into non-meeting, which we will move
Right.
out, back, and then we'll come back to go into non-public. So. out of non-meeting, and we will need to make a motion. Hold on. We need a motion that the board by roll call go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employment, and also RSA 91-A:3 2C, to discuss a matter which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of a person other than a member of the body or agency itself. It's moved by Beth. I need a second. Second by Cindy.
I
And
have a question.
Yes. Did I not read the right
No,
ones?
it's not that. In the recent NHSBA training, they suggested having separate non-public sessions so that the minutes are separate because they may be treated differently. And I'm wondering if we want to break it into two individual rather than a single non-public session. I don't know.
So do you want to pull your motion, Beth? Sure. Okay, so I need this one, right, thank you. I need a motion by member that the board by roll call go into non-public according to, pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, Section 2C, to discuss a matter which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of a person other than a member of the body or agency itself. I need that motion. By Beth, second by Tom. Okay.
Roll call.
A roll call vote, please, starting with Liz.
Liz, aye. Krista, aye. Cindy, aye.
Holly, aye.
Tom, aye.
Okay, so that's 6-0. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
So at, what time is it? At 6:29, the board is going into non-public.
motion to seal the non-public minutes from tonight, April 13th, 2022 indefinitely.
So moved.
Oh, sorry,
So
I said moved. I
She
made it.
motioned,
If you
you're
second
seconding.
it.
So that was motioned by Beth, seconded by Cindy. Is that, do we need a roll call vote for that, or is that just a, no? So all in favor? And that's 5-0.
Abstentions?
What? Abstentions?
No's and abstentions.
501. Great, thank you. And then I also need a motion to go into, that the board by roll call go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, Part 2A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee.
Second.
Moved by Tom, seconded by Beth. Roll call, Liz.
Liz, aye. Krista? Cindy, aye.
Holly, aye.
Aye.
Beth, aye.
So that's 6-0.
Could you state the time for Dawn?
Oh, sure, and that would be at 7:36. Okay, so, do we have a quorum?
Do.
Okay, so someone's coming late, so let me, I've lost track of where I am. So we've come out of non-public, and we now need to appoint a process observer. Is there anyone who'd like to be a process, is there anyone who's planning on being here till the end of the
I
night?
am not planning to be here, so don't tell me. Not me.
Also wants
Take
the
it.
process observer. Okay, we don't have any more agenda adjustments, correct?
I have none.
Okay,
Why don't we just dump all the policies now?
so would you like, well, we can't, some of them, let's just go through, because some of them we have to do, like, conflict of interest and stuff like that, so, all right, go ahead, Andy, up to nominations.
Okay, great.
Um,
First of all, I have a leave request. Dear Superintendent Corey, I am writing to request a one-year unpaid leave for the 22-23 school year. This is outlined in Section 13-11 in the Hollis Brookline High School Staff Handbook. My intention is to return for the 23-24 school year to teach AP Physics at Hollis Brookline High School once again. And that comes from Adam Wilcox. The administration supports this request from Adam.
Thank you, so I need a motion to accept the request for leave from Adam Wilcox. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom, effective for the year 20, what year is it, 22, 23?
22, yep.
Okay, so moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? 6-0.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Next, I have a couple resignations. Dear Mr. Corey and School Board, I would like to thank you and the Hollis Brookline community for the opportunity to educate our students for 16 years. It has been an honor and a privilege to work with the community to help our students think independently and grow to meet and exceed their true potential. I'm extremely proud to have been able to touch so many lives. That being said, I must formally resign and retire due to personal concerns. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure working here for the past 16 years, and that is from Ann Mellum.
Thank you, Mr. Corey. Was that an accept a letter of resignation or retirement?
Retire.
Okay.
Ann is retiring.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the letter of retirement received from Ann Mellum with an effective date of, is it
June 30th
June
of
30th, 2022? With regret. Go ahead.
So
Moved by Beth and seconded by Tom. Is there any discussion? Just, I'd like to thank Ann for her service and her, just her person as the last 16 years. And then all in favor? 6-0. Okay, next one.
Dear Principal Gazone, I am writing to inform you of my intention to resign my position as a social studies teacher at Hollis Brookline High School. I am currently on leave under the Family Medical Leave Act, and my intention is not to renew my contract for the 22-23 school year. I have loved my time working HB and will miss most the professionalism, the camaraderie, and the collaborative spirit I have fostered with members of the Social Studies Department and the faculty in general. It has been a blessing to teach and know the hundreds of students I have worked with throughout my years at HB. I have learned so much from them and will always cherish the time I spent with both the students and the staff, and that is from Katie Henderson.
Thank you. So I need a motion to accept the letter of resignation received from Katie Henderson with an effective date of June 30th, 2022. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. Again, discussion, again, regret. All those in favor? Yeah.
The next one is, Dear Mr. Gazone, it is with sadness that I inform you that this will be my last year in the position of school nurse at Hollis Brookline High School. What a privilege it is to work with the staff and students at this school. Experiences and relationships I have here will continue to benefit me long after I go, I am certain. 3 of my children have been better prepared for life because they attended this high school and enjoyed instruction and kind mentoring from the staff there. Truly, Hollis and Brookline schools have left a legacy on a family. Sincerely, Amber Fox McNeil.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the letter of resignation of Ms. Amber Fox McNeil with an effective date of June 30th, 2022. by Beth, seconded by Tom. Okay, any question? Okay, all in favor? 6-0.
Dear Mr. Corey, please accept my official resignation from the position of case manager at Hollis Brookline High School effective at the end of the 21-22 school year. My family will be moving out of state this summer, and I have accepted another position in that state. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to work in Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District. I have certainly learned a lot and have thoroughly enjoyed my time here, and that is from Suzanne Wright.
Letter, I need a motion by member to accept the letter of resignation from Suzanne Wright with an effective date of June 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? 6-0.
Lastly, dear Mr. Corey, please accept my resignation from my position as chemistry teacher at Hollis Brookline High School. My last day will be the 30th of June, 2022. I want to thank you and the Hollis Brookline community for my 5 years of experience at the high school. I am looking forward to taking the wealth of knowledge you have shared with me in my future endeavors, and that is from Meg Cleary.
Okay, and I need a motion to accept the letter of resignation received from Meg Cleary with an effective date of June 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? 6-0.
The next two items I have are our administrative positions that were open. So the first one is for Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District, the middle school assistant principal's position. After a extensive interview process, which I'd like to thank Patrick and his staff for coordinating running, they forwarded two candidates to the SAU, and we have selected Allison Bushman. Allie, as you know, presently works for us. She has her bachelor's in physical education. She has her master's in sports management, and she has her CAGs from New England College. Allie would be starting at a salary of $90,000 as the assistant principal of Hollis Brookline Middle School,
Effective July 1st.
effective July 1st. Thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the superintendent's nomination of Ally Bushman for the position of assistant principal at the at HBMS at a pay rate of at the salary of $90,000 effective July 1st, 2022. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those.
It's 90K exactly.
Exactly.
Are there any other questions or combination? Discussion? All those in favor? 6-0.
Next is the high school assistant principal for student services. I'd like to thank Tim and his team for all their efforts. They sent forward an outstanding candidate to the SAU. I met with Aisha Weaver this week and was thoroughly impressed, and I'm very excited to work with her and watch her contributions to the high school. Aisha has her bachelor's in psychology from UMass Lowell. She has her general special education certification from Granite State College. She has her master's in education curriculum and instruction from Plymouth State University, and she has her CAGs from Plymouth State as well. Aisha would be joining us at a salary of $98,000 to be the assistant principal of student services for the high school next year.
And was that
Can
you
you
then
spell
also?
her last name?
Sure. Weaver, W-E-A-V-E-R, and the first name is A-I-S-H-A.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the nomination of Aisha Weaver as assistant principal. Do I need the full
Student
title
services.
of student services? Okay, assistant principal of student services and school counseling at a salary of $98,000 with an effective date of July 1st, 2022. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? 6-0.
Excellent. I have some teacher nominations. The first one is for English at Hollis Brookline High School. I'm nominating Kristen Welter, W-E-L-T-E-R. She has her bachelor's from Riviera College and her master's in curriculum instruction, reading and literacy from Lewis University. Kristen will be joining us at a master's step 18 for $77,792 salary.
Can you do the salary one more time?
Sure, $77,792.
Okay. So I need a motion to accept the superintendent's nomination of Kristen Welter for the position of English teacher. Is that what you said?
Correct.
At a master's step 18 for $77,792, effective July 1st, right?
Nope. September.
September 1st.
Well,
No,
school year.
the beginning of the school year.
Yep.
Effective at the beginning of our school year. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? Are you voting? Okay, thank you.
Next,
6-0.
I have a nomination for Eric Penniman, Penniman, for the position of school psychologist at Hollis Brookline High School. Eric has his bachelor's in psychology and criminal justice from Plymouth State. He has his master's in education, school psychology, and mental health counseling from Plymouth State, and he is completing his PhD in educational leadership at Southern New Hampshire University. Eric will be joining us at a master's step plus 30, step 15, for $76,413.
Repeat the number?
$76,413.
And this is for school psychologist.
Correct.
This is- Okay. So at the high school.
Can I
That's
just
correct.
ask a question?
Yep.
Masters plus 30,
Yes.
and what,
Step 15.
15, okay.
Okay, so I need a motion, motion to accept the superintendent's nomination of Eric Penniman. Did I say that right?
Yep,
For the position of high school psychologist?
that is correct.
High school psychologist, at a step 15, master's plus 30, $76,413, effective at the beginning of the school year.
Mhm.
Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, and at 8:15, Ms. Whalen is leaving.
Does that role participate over the summer at all?
They may be called upon to do some testing.
Will this person be a district employee prior to the start of the school year?
The-
Or
the-
will they be, would they have to be a separate contract or something?
They have been, I would say, advised of that need, because we're hiring 3 across the SAU. So what we're doing is making sure we have coverage throughout the summer for any child that has testing needs.
I'm just curious, because the motion was to, at the start of the school year, should it be a July 1st?
They're
contract?
not, their contract doesn't start July 1st, so.
It does or does not?
Does not.
It does not. They could be working weeks during ESY.
But they would not be under their teacher's contract?
That's
if they did
correct.
so. Okay, I was just looking for that clarification.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Next.
Next, I have a nomination for Jennifer Campbell to be a special ed case manager. All of you know Jen is the administrator here at the middle school. She is moving back into the classroom for personal reasons. She has her bachelor's in psychology and education from UNH, her master's in education, special education from New England College, and her CAGs at New England College as well. She is master's master's plus 30, step 15, for $76,413.
Okay, so I need motion to accept the superintendent's nomination of Jennifer Campbell for the position of HBHS case manager at a master's plus 30, step 15, salary of $76,413. Moved by Beth, seconded by Tom.
Got ahead of myself.
All those in favor? 5-0.
That's it for nominations and resignations. For correspondence, I just wanted to update the board on a couple items. During the fall, I had gotten multiple, requests or inquiries from the board regarding the lighting situation up near our field. So we had a gentleman come in this weekend and actually evaluate it. And we'll be taking some steps to add some floodlights and things to existing poles and that. It's relatively cheap expense, and when you think of the safety aspect of it, so we'll be moving forward with that. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Also, the student dirt lot down low, Lance had some people out to just evaluate that. What we'll be doing this spring, so that we can get ready to pave in '24 or '25, is we need to bring in new gravel. So we need to do what I'll call, my words, not a construction person's, like an underlayment. So that work will be starting in the spring under Lance's supervision. And then lastly, Gina wanted to make you aware that we are presently piloting some new, I'm going to use the word smart boards. They're a lot more capable than that. It's like, think of your 70-inch plasma TV geared for education. So we have a couple teachers piloting those presently. And if all goes as expected, we'll be purchasing a few more of those to replace boards that are going out of service. We had boards scheduled for '24, '25. What we're hearing from a couple of our teachers, it's not going to make '24, '25, so we're just going to accelerate that. And Gina has been taking care of that, but as you know, she's out of state at a conference this week, so just wanted me to make you aware of that. So that just gives you an idea of a couple safety, educational concerns that will be taken care of in the coming months, so you're not surprised when you start to see those things happen.
Andy, why do the work on the lot 2 years prior to paving?
The company that we had come out, and our hope would be to pave in '24, which is a little over a year. They are saying that
This is 22 right now.
Yeah, it's a year and a half.
well, I mean, I always look at next spring as '23, so it's, I mean, because we have so much work going on that's already encompassing '23.
Okay.
Okay? What they want to do is they want to come in, and I'm going to say, scrape away probably 3, 4, 5 inches, because we don't really have a proper
No,
underlayment.
I understand why it should be done prior to paving them. It just seems like a long time, especially, you either make it unusable or you make it more usable, but I'm not sure why we're investing in it when it's basically a closed lot.
We envision the continued parking issues that we encounter every spring, where we simply don't have enough spots to meet the need. So by doing this lot, we believe that we can kind of end our parking issues, and then when you were a sophomore, you'd be able to qualify for a parking space. And
You're
it's
gonna
been,
let students park there potentially?
yes.
Okay.
Well, that's a whole other topic.
I know,
right?
I know it is, so it just seems odd to, it's the cart before the horse. Right now, I thought our belief was that that's an unsafe place to have students park.
Well, I wouldn't disagree on the sense that we wouldn't be doing other things to make it much safer for students.
It wasn't because of the lot, it was because of the location of crossing traffic.
Correct, and we believe when we do new paving, potentially new traffic flow in that lot with crosswalks and things that haven't been there, that's something we're looking at. But if we're going to do that lot in '24, the construction people are telling us we're going to have to put down something for approximately a year.
And that lot is used after school.
So again, it's,
No, it's used after school.
Open for athletics.
It's open for athletics after school.
Definitely used for the baseball games because there's no other place to park and you can't park in the baseball lot because otherwise you might not have a windshield at the end of the game.
And for soccer games too. It's
Okay.
used.
Then
Extracurricular.
Then I would suggest very soon we put on the agenda high school parking and talk about this because
sure.
Yeah, let's put it on the agenda.
it's more complex. There's liability of letting people park there as well, because we've already publicly stated that there are problems with that. So
There are, but this year we didn't even have enough parking in the fall for all the kids.
I'm not disputing the
And-
need.
No, and I mean, drop off the kids in the morning and you realize that the entire center of town around the triangle is full of cars with kids parking there and walking over, so
Well, and-
we know we have an issue.
And the safety concern is legitimate, but that's why it is chained off during the day when the safety concern is present. So when the traffic is there, there's chains, and then the chains are dropped for after school activities and for like weekend activities and things like that. So for the fireworks on Old Home Day, that's where I always park.
I'm happy to bring it back in May, and then I'll have some more details from Lance as well.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That concludes that section, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. All right, so now we have approval of minutes, and there are a lot of them, so we're gonna go through them quickly. Because time.
Just before you jump into it, there was one of the minutes,
I know, I printed I printed the new outline.
it's not so much the outline. I didn't get it.
She sent it with the new outline. She
With
sent
the
the
corrected
minutes.
link? There were two different minutes that linked to the same set, so one of them wasn't available for review.
So which one is that you want? We can table it and do that next time. It was the non-public
I gotta
minutes.
find my,
The non-public, she said separate.
not the
She's-
non-public, it was,
I went to the links.
the one for the public, for the petition warrant article hearing was actually a duplicate of the budget hearing.
Okay, so we want to accept minutes next month?
No, we can accept them. I just wanted to say that there was one set that I couldn't review, and I don't know if anyone actually tried to read them besides me, but one of them, when you pulled it up, it pulled up the wrong minutes.
I think I wasn't as diligent about reading all of the public hearing ones because there were no comments, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept with the following amendments for the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School Board Co-op Budget Committee meeting of February 2nd. Following amendments, page 3, line 1, insert by, following driven. Page 3, line 37, insert a parenthesis following Brookline. Page 5, line 16, delete after. Page 5, line 22, replace project with projections. So I need a motion to accept as amended.
So moved with one additional
Can
correction.
we get the second first? Okay, Beth is the second. Okay,
No, wait,
any,
wait, wait.
go ahead.
Page 7, line 8, replace the word than with is.
Okay,
Changes the complete meaning of the sentence.
okay, great. Thank you, Tom. Okay, all those in favor? And that's 4-0-1 with one abstention, right, Liz? Thank you.
I
Okay,
don't know if you want to pass this along.
Harsher. To Dawn, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, got it. Next one, public hearing energy upgrades, February 2nd, 2022. I need a motion to accept as presented
So moved.
by Tom, seconded by Beth. All those in favor? 4-0-1. I need for the public Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District public hearing petition warrant article February 2nd, 2022. I need a motion to accept. That's Beth. Second, Tom. All those in favor? 4-0-1. And now we need the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District public hearing FY23 budget was also February 2nd, 2022. I need a motion to accept. Beth, second by Tom. All those in favor? 4-0-1. And then I need the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School Board meetings of February 16th, 2022 with the following amendments. Are you gonna have more? Okay. Page 2, line 32, insert a period at the end of the sentence. Page 2, line 48, insert a period at the end of the sentence. Page 4, line 29, correct the spelling of going. Page 6, line 30, replace if with is. Page 11, line 42, delete the period following extent. I need a motion to accept as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Tom, seconded by Beth. This time Cindy, you can abstain. All those in favor? 4-0-1. Okay, and then I need for the non-public meetings of minutes of February 16th, 2022, which I think she sent today.
Yep.
I need a motion to accept as presented.
So
Beth,
moved.
second by Tom. All those in favor? 4-0-1. The public hearing on February 16th, 2022, I need a motion to accept as presented. That would be Tom, seconded by Beth. All those in favor? 4-0-1. Another public hearing on February 23rd, 2022. There was,
Do we have to
we
be?
can't, we weren't there.
Do we have to
I
have
was
been
there.
present to accept the minutes, I guess is the question of a hearing?
It was
I
me
don't-
and Gina.
I don't think so.
No, and
I don't think we do. I think we can accept them.
Yep, you can accept them.
Okay, so motion to accept, motion by Beth, Tom, All those in favor?
Do you accept them?
She
You were the
would,
only one there.
she would vote one, and the others would all abstain.
Okay, so I vote to accept them, yes, because I was there and no one was there. And all those.
We abstained.
That's okay. All right, so abstentions. And then finally, the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District Annual Meeting Minutes. Did we see those? Are those up?
I
They,
did not-
they, the link to them was in the outline, so yes, I read them.
Okay.
And basically, all they have is the motions
And the votes.
and who made, all the motions
Okay.
and the votes.
So can we make a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Moved by Tom, seconded by Beth. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, so moving on to public input. Normally I kind of introduce public input, but I'm going to open the floor for public input at 8:29.
They've all gone to bed.
We've all gone to bed. And seeing none, I'm going to close the floor for public input at 8:29 as well. So, phew, just flew. So now we have principals and athletic reports. Gentlemen. On my agenda.
So I do have a couple of videos that I'll wait until the end to just show, if that's okay.
Sure.
So Spirit Week was the week before February vacation, dress-up days and a lot of team-based competitions that week. The building was abuzz. We had our first unified basketball game the Friday before vacation, which was an incredible success. A number of athletes from all different backgrounds competed against staff. And the students in the stands were just incredibly supportive. It was a great success. We're working on continuing our unified athletics this spring with the track and field team, run by Aaron White again. Our Sea Perch trip and experience was a great success. 8th graders got to go to UNH, the pool, and test their rove, their underwater vehicles. It was my first time going through that project. Students worked in pairs, and the people from Portsmouth Naval Shipyard were just great. They said this was one of the best groups that they've ever worked with, so that was nice to hear. Our Vertical Dreams PE trip happened a couple weeks ago. Students went and worked on a number of different communication skills, cooperation skills, and just had a great day, great experience, run by Allie Bushman. And got physical activity during the day. Our HBMS Drama Club hosted its first in-person performance in over 2 years. Over 60 students were involved in this production. The production was Moana Junior. And just a huge shout out to Nancy Spencer, Liz Nault, and Sue Kinney for being the advisors and keeping all students involved. It was a great show, and students really did have a blast. Our math counts team did a really nice job this year. 2 7th grade students, Benton Zhang and Arvind Venkatesh, they made it to the state competition for math counts, which no matter what grade level you're in, it's a huge accomplishment. They competed in the state competition 2 weeks ago. That was held remotely. Both Benton and Arvind did a really great job. Their advisor, Devin Photo, who was a high school teacher, said they all did a great job, but the results came in and Benton took 15th place overall and Arvind took 18th place overall. This isn't in the minutes, but I just added it because I just received these results from this past weekend. Our National History Day Club took first place in the National History Day competition this past Saturday at Plymouth State University. They submitted their video on the 100-Year War. The part of the competition they were a part of was the Junior Middle School Documentary category. That was run by Sue Conley, who has also been nominated for National History Day Teacher of the Year. So huge shout out to all of those individuals. The members of the National History Club were Neil, tough last name, Talamajarhu, Coleman Scott, Eli Mazzola, and John Torpy. Our computer science stop motion animation videos, I'm going to share in just a second. I have 4 videos that were made by students. Some of them were digital made, some of them were by hand. We're currently planning for our HBMS career fair. We have a keynote speaker for that day, and that is Spot the Robotic Dog from Boston Dynamics. Our counselors are putting together a schedule for that day that'll allow students to have different rooms that they access to meet and greet with different people from all sorts of careers. And we did start up a dodgeball club, which we have about 40 students involved. That's on Tuesdays and Fridays. We did try and get the floor hockey back up and running, but we just haven't been able to get that successfully back up and running. But we did start a dodgeball club, and we have 40 more students involved after school. We are hosting our incoming 7th grade parent info night tomorrow night for those upcoming 6th grade parents. And then next week we'll be visiting the elementary school, CSDA and Hughes, to meet and greet the 6th graders who will be joining us at the middle school next year. Questions before I show the videos?
Well, first I want to congratulate all of the students that you mentioned, because that's incredible, all of the work that they've done. National History Day, and then Benton and Arvind. It's great news. And also, the fact that we're going on field trips again is very heartening. To that note, I have no idea if this is an appropriate question, but do you think the big field trip for 8th grade will be back on for
We
next year?
started planning already for
Okay,
next year.
I figured you did,
Yep.
but I think that's nice for families and the community to know that we're committed to that, and COVID obviously derailed it, but that's great. Are there any other questions for Patrick? Is Tim gonna join you on the field trip? Because he didn't get to
I
go.
think
get
he's
to go.
bringing
I think
the
he has
9th,
to.
10th, and 11th
Yeah,
group.
Yes.
yeah. I just think Tim should
Yes.
experience it, like, do you want to show the videos?
Sure.
Thanks. Does somebody want to hit the light?
I can try.
I just think every,
Sounds good.
yeah, you were a
I would
middle
love it.
principal.
Have you never had one?
No, he didn't get to go.
He dodged that.
He didn't want to dodge it, he wanted it to be, okay.
So this video is
Dodge
just
is
to
a
show
strong
the
word.
atmosphere that we had during our Spirit Week. It's been a couple years since we've been able to hold something like this, so I just thought it was a nice little video to share.
Jake.
It's Mr. Richard.
Yep.
Gives a little taste of the
What were they
atmosphere that we had.
chanting?
Bartlett is better.
Oh.
Vinci is better. Friendly competition.
I gotcha.
So these are stop motion animation videos that Scott Turcott helped students make in the computer science class. The first couple are digital, and then the last one that I'll show is a hand-drawn stop motion animation video. Responsibility.
A little self-porn, yes. So organized, it's not the way my children work.
Basketball fans in the room, so I'll show this one.
The kid can fly.
So this just shows bottom left-hand corner that this is the amount of images that they needed to make in order to put the images together to make the movie. So this is completely from scratch. Obviously, there's some images like the basketball that they stole from either a website or different images that Mr. Turcott had available. But they put all of the images together, and then turned it into a movie. And the last one, this is a hand-drawn story by a
For sharing those. That's
course.
such great work for our kids.
So our hope is that eventually with students learning some of those skills, the stop motion, that we'll be able to kind of do some cross-curricular activities where Mr. Turcotte can use some of these skills to, offer other projects in different classes.
That's awesome. Do the students who you share, do they know that they were being shared at the
Yep.
board meeting?
Yep.
That's nice. Well, tell them their work was well received. Okay, you.
All right, I'll do athletics first. Congratulations to our girls swim team and our wrestling teams on their Division II state championships. This is the first swimming team championship in school history. So congrats.
It is? Wow, that's great.
Yep.
Congratulations to the team, but also their coach,
Coach
who
Will.
is retiring. So what a nice way to end. That's awesome.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor. I heard a rumor.
Oh, okay. Well, but
Yeah, but either way, a phenomenal season on all fronts, and the boys on the mats had another outstanding season as well. Updates, spring sports are up and running, so we hosted games this week. We had boys and girls lacrosse both take home wins last night up on the turf. We have some home games scheduled for baseball and softball later on in the week. Track and volleyball are also up and running. School sports looks like regular season sounds like they have some healthy numbers returning to spring sports. And a couple updates from the Booster Club. We have there's a cleanup day this coming Saturday to spruce up the grounds as we head into our spring season. We also, they just recently opened a school spirit store with a bunch of Hollis Brookline gear. And another highlight there is the Booster Club golf tournament scheduled for Friday, May 27th. Do you want to talk athletics?
does anybody have a question on
I was just
athletics?
gonna make one comment about athletics. I mean, congrats to both those teams, but I had the opportunity to really appreciate the connection between the middle school and the high school, having middle school wrestlers, and I was so impressed by high school wrestlers, how often they came down and how supportive. It was really neat to see across. So it was a very, very neat experience to see high school coming down to support middle school teams in the same sport. So it was really, really neat to see.
That's how you get great programs,
It
is
was-
is the connection between the young and the old. The
Yeah,
younger and the old.
Brian's done a tremendous job, and Casey, who is a former wrestler of his, is the middle school coach now, and both our guys coming down, and then also middle school students coming up and working practices together.
But you see that in volleyball as well. Like
Yep,
with
and that's
really
where you
strong
build-
programs, when we start mixing and we start seeing the strength in those programs, I think girls lacrosse is leaning towards doing more of that as well, so it's great.
It was great to see.
Are you done with, no
Yep.
more questions on athletics?
Athletics?
Okay, everybody looks really tired. Okay, move on.
All right, moving on. Hollis Brookline Theater and Music Departments recently presented the musical Hello, Dolly. It was performed over 2 weekends in late March and early April. And our tech club advisor, Mr. Dylan Silcox, was the director, and the pit band was run by our very own Mr. Barbosa. Performances were outstanding, students impressed as usual, and the robotics team recently took part in a competition this past weekend, and they are, right now, they just went down to the New England District Championships with a chance to qualify for the World Championships. The World Championships are held next week. There were tentative plans throughout up until very recently for travel. Their win this past weekend actually got them in, so at the time of print here, they had not qualified at that point, and their hope was only that they would qualify at New England districts, but they did qualify, and their goal is to send a small group of students, a framework, only the seniors and upperclassmen, advisors, leaders, to Texas on the 20th through the 23rd next week. So it was a late qualifying, and given the tentative plans throughout the year with COVID restrictions and travel restrictions, hence the late notice on the travel. So the goal for them was to only send, they originally were not going to unless they pre-qualified, and that didn't happen, and then things have just kind of led into the situation that we're in now. Very proud of them, very happy for them, and the goal would be to send a small number, I believe 7 is their goal. Instructional practices subcommittee updates. The weighted versus unweighted committee has made recommendations to HBHS building admin to report on the student's transcript, both the weighted and unweighted GPA. Those conversations have been going on for several years in that group. This recommendation came to administration just last week. The committee work will be reviewed by administration, and then our recommendation will be brought forward to the board for our upcoming May meeting. Similarly, the advisory subcommittee has also brought forward a recommendation to HBHS building admin to incorporate an additional home-based CAV block to the Monday schedule as an initial phase of implementing an advisory at HBHS. The committee is also working to develop a presentation for staff that would be presented prior to the end of the school year and would include a pilot proposal for their recommendation. We have a lot going on at the high school in the coming weeks. We have our Walk for Change event scheduled for Thursday, the 19th. That'll be a school day event that'll happen during the course of the school day. We have the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard Career Day coming. That's on the 20th. That's going to be a bigger and better event than last year. It's going to be about twice the size. They had about 12 exhibits last year. There's going to be about 25 exhibits this year. Last year it was only open to sophomores. We're going to be opening it up to the entire school this year. The whole student body will be going out. So that's very exciting. That evening, we have the first of 2 guitar nights. We will be operating in full capacity in the auditorium for those 2 performances. We have Senior Quest presentations. We have a course at the high school, Senior Quest, and those presentations will be taking place the week following. And back by popular demand, we have our Physics Day, which was once known as Treb Day, and it has evolved to be a more inclusive day. All students taking physics, any level physics course, take part in a variety of different demonstrations and science activities. And I'm open to any questions anyone may have.
Are there any questions?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Do you know when you're gonna have a?
We don't have one scheduled. The goal will be before the end of the year. I actually have a draft email
Before the end of the year or?
before the end of the school year.
I'm just wondering, because if you want to take any action on either of those, sooner rather than later.
Does it have to go through the IPC before it comes to us?
So the weighted versus unweighted, the recommendation does not necessarily involve policy change. It would be a procedural change. So in having met with the individuals who brought forward their recommendations, the thought was that was a building level decision from there. And then that recommendation would then go to the board. There was some impact on both in Power School, in Program of Studies, in School Profile, and those details would be internal procedures that would need to be ironed out before bringing any kind of recommendation
Is that just
before the
an
board.
interim step? Well,
So
the reason I'm wondering is I thought that one of the whole goals was changing the perception of course selection. And reporting doesn't.
No, I get it. So the thing is I feel like we might lose a quorum soon. So, because you're okay? Okay. So I want to make sure that we stay focused on what we need to get done. I agree that we might need an IPC committee before we hear back from, just because the steering committee should have full view, I think, in terms of the structure. But I think we can dig into these comments and questions about weighting versus unweighting and,
Yeah,
those
I
things
agree.
at a later date.
But I do think, I guess my point is I think that stuff needs to come before the board. Both of these
Steering
committees,
committee, yeah.
and if we wait until June to have that meeting, then there's no chance of having a board meeting to act on any of the things before the end of the school year to be effective for the beginning of the next school year, so I'm concerned about the logistics of it.
So maybe we need to have an IPC committee, steering
Sure.
committee meeting before the next board meeting so that it could then, is that possible?
Yeah.
You can try. I understand the structure, but I do think we can wait and talk a little bit more about why.
I agree.
But, and the weighting committee is not recommending changing weighting at this point. So weighting's gonna stay, according to the committee. Okay, that's, okay. Questions? Any more questions for Tim? First of all, just a few comments. I went to see the play. The kids did a great job. I love the fact that we're back in person and kids are performing live. And I want to compliment the people involved. It's a ton of work to do that. It is more work than, it's a ton of work. I do want to make one little comment. The costumes were really spectacular. So I believe that it was one of the art teachers who did a lot with that.
Yep.
I mean, everything was phenomenal and they all did a great job. But I really thought the costumes kind of blew me away because you don't rent them. It's this teacher, like sewing. So that's pretty incredible. Any other questions or comments? Everything else looks great, Tim.
We had one rerun with wet paint during.
And the robotics team, please send them our congratulations. I'm sorry that they're in this bind, but it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. Yep, well said.
Great. Okay, so that's that. So I know Beth is now, are you leaving, Beth? So Beth is leaving at 8:51. So now we're down to the four of us. So I'd like to get to the revenue expense report because Linda's been sitting here for 2.5 hours. I don't believe that we need the principals anymore. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was going
So-
to request that.
So they are welcome to, we appreciate your input and all that.
Are we skipping policy, you think?
I think we're gonna do the first four things on deliberations and we're gonna table the rest. I think that's the way we're gonna have to do this. Because we should do the board member code of ethics and the investments. Don't you think?
Well, we should have done it with our board members here. At this point, I think you might as well wait and do it next month,
Okay,
because you've lost half your board members.
okay.
We have to do something with the calendar, because the other two.
We have
Right.
to do the calendar and we have to do the nominations.
Yep.
So, that we can do.
So we'll turn it over to Linda, and then we'll be flexible
Jess,
after that.
yes.
Okay, well, the good news is the longer I sit here, the shorter my report becomes. So 1 more hour, you would have had silence from me. So, all right, let's look at expenses first. We're showing that at this point in time, we're expecting that we'll have $818,000 savings from our expense budget. And that's really driven from three categories. If you notice on the report, the three large numbers, balances. First one, special education, $425,000 balance, mostly due to program changes. For example, switching from a residential program to a day program, unfilled para positions, and we've had families declining services. The second large category is under transportation, $209,000 savings there. And again, that's back to special education. Students moving out of our district saves us substantial money. And then lastly, in the benefit category, savings in taxes, insurance, and retirement due to different things such as hiring savings and enrollment changes. So expense side, saving $818,000. Let's look over at the revenue side. Again, we're showing savings here. We're showing a total revenue balance of $443,000. Almost half of that is coming from food service. So if you look at the three food service categories together on my report, there's the state food service number, $8,500, the federal food service number of $407,000, and then the local, which is the food service sales, which is in the negative due to this year being free meals. If you combine those, that's almost $200,000, which is half of the savings we're showing on the revenue side. And just a reminder, I brought up last time in January, in the other category, that savings of $149,000, that is the health trust surplus we enjoyed, which is not expected and not budgeted for. So, putting it all together, if we choose to fund the maintenance trust, special ed trust, and retained fund balance, that leaves us a projected fund balance of $655,000, 260. And I will say, just to let you all know, these numbers are not guesses. This comes from really extensive analysis where I've got my finger on account lines, and we have 350 purchase orders, and every day I'm reviewing the numbers. So it's a lot of thought goes into this. And it's not that it's going to be perfect, but I can tell you that we work really hard in the business office to give you the best numbers we can give you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, one other thing. The numbers that the projects Andy discussed earlier are included in this report on the expenses. So that's
Do
what
you
I
know
have.
how this 655 number compares to what was anticipated at budget time?
I don't remember what Darlene was projecting, but it's typically been 2 to 3%. And
I'm just wondering if we are coming in above, around, at, or below what people thought was going to happen out of the co-op.
I think we're coming in right now around what we were expecting, but to Linda's point, we're very conservative, and we always would rather come in low and see that number grow than go the other way.
Oh, I
Yeah.
understand. I was
So I don't want to
I just
think
sort of
that,
curious.
I mean, if that came out at, say, 800,000, by the end of the year, that wouldn't shock me. And a lot of that's due to, there have been positions that have been difficult to fill. And as Linda alluded to, because of our programming between Amy and Lauren, we've been able to have some cost avoidance because students have chosen to stay in district. And that's something we never know, projecting 18 months out where will be placed. So I do want to thank Linda, Kelly, and Donna. Donna does the 2 elementary districts, but at the same time, you go up there and all they're ever doing is talking numbers between the 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. These
You're
are very
welcome.
clear. Even I understand it, which is really funny.
Are we seeing doubling up of the bus routes on a virtually daily basis at this point?
You see some, but we typically don't really finalize those until we get further into the year. Because again, the bus company's doing the best they can to get those drivers. I talk to other superintendents, and some of them are just literally telling parents what buses aren't running that day. So doubling seems awful until you realize what's happening elsewhere. Yeah. So we can look into that. Linda and I will make a note and kind of give you an update on that as well.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions for So, thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
You are welcome to leave, I mean, unless you want to stay for the
What
rest.
was the lemon cookie?
I only had 1/4 of the lemon cookie, Tom, just so you know. It was delicious.
Thank you very much, though, Linda. You're welcome to leave.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to stay.
With
But you
the-
can, because we're so much fun.
Okay.
With the chair's permission, I can go to school calendar and then
Can you
move
skip
into,
it?
we can skip those three because they'll come back again next month. The information's in the packet,
Right.
self-explanatory.
I don't know if
This-
the calendar's any fun without Gina being here.
I'm
So we're gonna skip, so we're going.
going to go to the school calendar.
Do we need a motion to that, or we're just gonna skip those discussions?
I'll just bring them back. We don't need
Okay.
anything.
Really
Okay.
mad.
So And then we'll just do the two, the nominations and the calendar.
Yes.
We'll vote
Correct.
on those two things, and then we'll table all the other policies. Okay, sure.
The school calendar, we're proposing what I would call the traditional school calendar, returning in August for staff days, and 7th and 9th graders having their typical orientation. The month of September is our typical September month. October, we see no school on Columbus Day, and other than that, it's a pretty stable month. Then we get back into November, which is always a difficult month. You have the 8th is a professional development day, Veterans Day is on the 11th, and then we are doing Thanksgiving recess the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, as we traditionally have. And we're using an early release. We're doing 4 more early release to work on curriculum next year at Gina's recommendation on the 20th. December is very traditional. It's one of the shortest breaks that we can possibly have. January, we see Martin Luther King and an early release on the 30th. We are really staying away from early releases on Fridays because that creates chaos at the high school because you already have late start Fridays. We learned that as we went through one of those this year. February is traditional, with the majority of break being again in March. March is a very stable education month with an early release on the 7th. The reason we're picking that date is one of our schools has voting in it, and they would like the students out as early as possible for traffic pieces and safety concerns. In April, we have a traditional month, with April vacation being the end of the month. In May, we have the early release on Thursday, the 25th, Memorial Day on the 30th. We're proposing June 10th for the high school graduation, last day of school, the 19th. The last day for teachers in the co-op would be the 22nd. This has been approved in Hollis and Brookline. We're hoping to move forward tonight so we can get it to principals so they can mock up all the different nights of orientations and things like that, and get it out to families so they can start to plan. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. And again, all the credit for the calendar goes to Gina.
November 8th, that's the anticipated voting day?
Correct.
Will it, they're not voting here in the club, they're going to vote at Lawrence Barn, right?
That's
Oh,
correct, but they'll be voting
no,
in Brookline.
I
Yep,
understand.
yep.
Beth was asking about the logic or thought of having the last day of school a Monday. Is that an actual functional day, or is that a makeup day, or?
Well, right now you have 5 snow days built in.
Yeah.
So if you don't have 5, you'd end earlier. If you have more than 5, you'd be the Tuesday or Wednesday.
We always play with that day anyway.
That's
Right.
the way it falls.
Right.
I mean,
Um,
realistically, would you likely have a Monday?
No,
frame like
I don't
that?
think it would be, if we were just to that Monday, I don't think it would be a sound practice. But since I've been here, this will be really kind of the first year we're getting out exactly when we projected because of lack of snow days. And to that end, just to let the board know, when you approved last year's calendar, you approved June 11th for graduation. There's no change, so that date is official, and Tim will be sending that out. And our last day was the 17th, and it will be the 17th, and that will be traditional half-day. So those dates will be going out from principals in the next couple days.
So, are there any other questions on the calendar? So I need a motion to approve the 2023 school calendar as presented. Motion, and I need a second. Cindy, all in favor? guess there was no more discussion, sorry. 400, great. And then, actually, I kind of skipped to deliberations, but that's
Correct.
okay.
That's fine.
And then the only other deliberative item we have, well, no, we have many, but we have to table the rest. So I need a motion we're moving to deliberations. We're going to put facilities update, strategic plan update, and compliance position update on next month's agenda for discussion. So we're gonna move to deliberations, and I need a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for teachers' nominations as presented. Moved by Tom. Seconded by Cindy. Is there any discussion on that? I mean, this was done in non-public, so, okay, all in favor? 400. And then I would like to, because we only have 4 members here and we have a lot of policies, I would like to, can we make a motion to table the rest of the policies, or do we need to go through them one by one?
No, you could make a motion to table the remaining agenda items.
Okay, so I need a motion to table the remaining agenda items.
So,
Moved by Cindy, seconded by Tom. Any discussion on that?
I'm only just concerned that we're gonna have to plan for a very long meeting in May.
I understand that, but unfortunately, a couple of these absences were really,
Unanticipated.
Unanticipated,
I understand
right.
that, but I'm just saying, plan on May being a long meeting.
I will send a note to everyone on that. Plan on May being a long meeting. All those in favor of tabling and getting out early tonight? Since there's. All those in favor?
Outnumber Tom.
I've
It's
got
not
no
even early,
life.
it's 9:00.
You gotta have process.
4-0, and we need the process observer report, please.
Well, let me take some time to talk to you about this
There's a crumble left, Tom.
one. I think that we made a little bit of a mistake with underestimating the initial non-public time.
Yep.
But other than that, the meeting went very efficiently, and we got a lot of good information out of it.
Excellent, thank you very much. Alrighty,
And May's not gonna be that long, because we won't have 2 non.
right.
So
we'll
even
get
if
to-
we stick all of this other stuff on there, it's not gonna go crazy.
Thank you, Tim.
Can-
And
can I-
honestly, those
Can I
policies
quote
were
you on
pretty
that,
straight.
Cindy? There will be
Yes,
no
those
non-publics.
Those
I
policies were
said
completely
completely non-publics, we don't have to do nominations, we don't have to do.
We could have gone through those policies, and I don't want to go back and do it, but those policies were not the worst that we've ever had.
Right, and they're all first reads, so they'll all be first reads, so we don't have to, we can go through them.
We don't have to,
The bigger reason that
Device.
we're not doing them isn't time, it's the.
Numbers.
We don't have the
yeah.
critical mass of people here. I mean, we shouldn't, it doesn't make sense to approve the ethics policy if half of them aren't here.
Can we do a motion yet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did we do it?
Oh, motion to adjourn. Seconded by Krista, Cindy, sorry.
That's Cindy.
All in favor?
That's Liz.
Aye.
9:06.
We are adjourned at 9:06.